Billy Luna.
No, I was in 70. No, I got thrown out of school.
You got thrown out of school.
But I used to go riding with Salvi.
Okay, so that's
Salvi
how
used
it
to take
worked.
me down. Me, Salvi, Philip Narducci. We used to go down Cabana Down Slims, and I loved it. And I loved it.
But he's talking about going with Salvi. When he's talking about Salvi, he's talking about Salvi Testa. And then he also mentions Phil Narducci. This is a very interesting story with these guys, Skinny Joey Merlino and Salvi Testa. Very intertwined stories of these second generation mafia princes. So let me tell you a little bit about this. Salvatore A. Testa, known as Salvi, was one of a group of second-generation Philadelphia Mafia princes, who among them was thought to be first in line to the Philly Cosa Nostra throne. However, Salvi's bloodline was star-crossed. His father, Philly Mafia boss Philip the Chicken Man Testa, would be blown to pieces on his front porch, as described in the Bruce Springsteen song Atlantic City. The young prince in Capo regime, Salvi Testa, would later be betrayed by his closest friend and shot twice in the back of the head. Salvi Testa was born on March 31st, 1956, in southwest Philadelphia.
Please subscribe to the Billy Luna channel and like the video. Thank you.
Hey everybody, Skinny Joey Merlino just dropped a new video on his YouTube channel, The Skinny. He mentions a lot of mafia stuff, a lot of stuff about rats. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through it, I'm going to pause it, and I'm going to kind of give you a lot of information about people and things he's talking about, because he kind of touches on things but doesn't go into them. So this is kind of like a reaction video commentary. So here we go.
Life is a casino. We don't sing, we just hit them off with C-notes. And you can bet it all. I will be the last one standing tall. Joey Merlino.
Okay, so this is a new opening, and this seems really cool. The production value seems like it's been boosted up a little bit. I like all this. You see Allen Iverson, you see the Sixers, see a lot of Philly stuff. So okay, let's keep going here.
What's up, Kujin?
What's up, Kujin?
What's up, Kujin? All right, I'm gonna fast forward through some of this because we're just gonna go to the relevant stuff. He talks about some mafia stuff, and I want to kind of fill you in on who he's talking about and the situations he's talking about.
Beautiful weather.
Beautiful.
Better than being
80s,
in Philly.
Better than being in Philly. Is right.
They're in Boca Raton.
I'm sure you already figured out if you didn't by now. We're from South Philly.
South Philly, stand up.
When I was a kid, I might have been 7, 8. My father was a number writer, so.
Okay, so he's talking about when he was a kid, his father was a number writer. When he talks about his father, you're talking about Chucky Merlino, Salvatore Chucky Merlino. Chucky was underboss of the family under his childhood friend, Nicky Scarfo, who was the boss. Back in 1963, Merlino and Scarfo had an altercation in a Philadelphia diner that ended with Scarfo fatally stabbing a longshoreman named William Duggan. Scarfo ended up serving a 6-month prison term for that. There's a rumor that Scarfo demoted Chucky back down to captain because of his alcoholism. And whatever the case, he was convicted in 1988. He was a stand-up guy, never ratted, and Chucky Merlino died in a Fort Worth prison in 2012 at the age of 73. See, when he talks about his father, he's talking about Chucky Merlino, Salvatore Chucky Merlino, future underboss of the Philadelphia Mafia family. When he talks about where he lived in South Philly, kind of the South Philly Passyunk area, he lived at 10th and Jackson.
When I was a kid, I might have been 7, 8. My father was a number writer, so they used to have the flash paper. They had two kind of papers. They had the rice paper you throw in the water, it dissolves, but the flash paper.
So he's talking about when you're like, a bookmaker, you sometimes want to get rid of stuff, so you use rice paper and it dissolves in water, or use flash paper. Flash paper is like stuff used by magicians. So if you ever see a magician go with his hands and go something like that, and there's like fire, that's this paper, and you just have to touch it to like a flame or any spark, and it just lights up. And it's magical, but it also instantly is destroyed. So he's talking about his dad in the bookmaking business back there in South Philly, back in the day.
You light up a mat, the goes gone.
It goes right
disappeared.
Up.
Done.
The rice paper right in the water, though, right? I remember
rice
hearing
paper
about
in the
that.
water, but the flash paper You never see nothing like it. It
Yeah.
just disappears. So I'm in my bathroom, my house on Jackson Street. I'm doing it with toilet paper. I like the hamper on fire. Bad. Like, went up, my father, I got a fucking beat. He said, you ever play with matches again, you're fucking dead. About a week later, we used to play chink against the wall. So we used to play at because all the homes were like brick with the mortar, and the ball would hit the mortar, it would take a crazy bounce.
Yeah, chink is a game. It's kind of like racquetball, but you don't use a racket, you use your hand, and it's basically kind of the same idea as racquetball. Like use your hand to play like handball with somebody else, and you try to hit it so that they can't hit it back. It's kind of like a street racquetball.
Okay.
This lady had a flat front. Betty, her name was. She lived with her mother. Her mother's name was Denica Oz. The mother was like 97.
Okay.
Betty had to be 80.
Wow.
The name of the ball game, chink, sometimes called wall ball, but in South Philly, we call it chink, derives from the sound that the ball makes, the handball makes, when it hits against the wall. When it hits against the wall, it goes chink, chink, and that's where we get the name from.
They were that old.
Late 70s.
Yeah.
She couldn't smoke in front of her mother.
At 80 years old, she couldn't smoke in front of her mother.
No.
Wow.
To come in my house.
Wow.
So she used to come in my house with Pall-Malls wrapped with tissue and smoke in my house. She smoked like she had a fresh murder case, one after another, right?
That's crazy.
So
She smoked like she had a fresh murder case.
we used to play chink in front of her house, but her mother was crazy. And every time we were playing summertime, the mother would come up from upstairs, the second floor window, and throw hot water, and hot.
It was hard Scrabble in South Philly.
So I said, this lady's crazy. So one day I got matches. Her window's open, the front window, her curtains. I'm trying to light the curtains on fire. Thank God I didn't. My father sees me out my window. We lived across the street. Come here. He says, you got to go to the store. I come in. He got a lighter and burned my hands. I never with matches again.
That was the end of
I
that.
almost lit her house on fire.
Thank
God the curtains didn't go to up.
Nobody. You don't see kids today playing chink.
Chink. They don't even
Half
know what the
ball.
fuck. You don't see kids out of that house.
Never.
Why they're all fat up.
He says kids are all fat and effed up. That's why he's skinny. He's skinny, right?
Now, as you're growing up in South Philly and you're going to school, and like you said, you weren't too good in school, does that lead you to becoming the jockey?
So when Joey's talking about going to school, he went to grade school at Epiphany of Our Lord School. That was also on Jackson Street, pretty close to where he grew up. And he later went on to St. John Newman High School. He was bounced out of St. John Newman during his senior year for quote-unquote disciplinary reasons. He went on to graduate from South Philadelphia High School.
No, I was in 70. No, I got thrown out of school.
You got thrown out of school.
But I used to go riding with Salvi.
Okay, so that's
Salvi
how
used
it
to take
was.
me down. Me, Salvi, Philip Narducci, we used to go down Cabana Down Slims, and I loved it. And I loved it.
But he's talking about going with Salvi. When he's talking about Salvi, he's talking about Salvi Testa. And then he also mentions Phil Narducci. This is a very interesting story with these guys, Skinny Joey Merlino and Salvi Testa. Very intertwined stories of these second generation Mafia princes. So let me tell you a little bit about this. Salvatore A. Testa, known as Salvi, was one of a group of second-generation Philadelphia Mafia princes, who among them was thought to be first in line to the Philly Cosa Nostra throne. However, Salvi's bloodline was star-crossed. His father, Philly Mafia boss Philip the Chicken Man Testa, would be blown to pieces on his front porch, as described in the Bruce Springsteen song Atlantic City. The young prince and capo regime, Salvi Testa, would later be betrayed by his closest friend and shot twice in the back of the head. Salvi Testa was born on March 31st, 1956, in southwest Philadelphia. Salvi was the son of former Philadelphia Cosa Nostra family boss Philip the Chicken Man Testa, and heir apparent to the throne. Salvi Testa's mercurial rise in the Philly family was later to be sinisterly extinguished by Nicodemo Scarfo. Scarfo, known as Little Nicky, orchestrated Salvi Testa's murder, snuffing out the promising career of the young, handsome, and capable capo regime. The violent history of the Testa family was deeply rooted. Salvatore's father, Philip Testa, the Chicken Man, took the helm as the family boss after the murder of Angelo Bruno in March 1980. Bruno's death triggered a brutal internal war within the family, pitting factions loyal to Harry Riccobene against Scarfo, who controlled the family's operations in Atlantic City. Salvatore Testa, inducted as a made man in June 1980, found himself entangled in the volatile power struggle. The murder of his father, Philip, the Chicken Man Testa, in 1981 further fueled the family's internal conflicts. Scarfo ascended to Philly family boss, promoting his childhood friend, Salvatore Chucky Merlino, Skinny Joey Merlino's pop, to underboss. Salvi Testa inherited his father's loan sharking operations, quickly earning a reputation as a high-earning, capable mafioso. Salvi Testa's life was marred by violence, surviving a shotgun attack in 1982, orchestrated in retaliation for the attempted killing of Harry Riccobene. However, internal tensions within the crime family escalated when Testa broke off his engagement to Chucky Merlino's daughter in 1984. Her name is Maria. This is Skinny Joey Merlino's sister. Although Skinny Joey Merlino has disputed this, pointing out that his sister Maria and Salvi were already broken up at the time that Salvi called off the wedding. Whatever the case, Scarfo felt threatened by Salvi Testa's ambition and growing popularity and sanctioned a hit on Salvi, setting the stage for the brutal murder of the handsome young Mafia prince on September 14th, 1984. On that dark day, Salvi's best friend, Joe Punjator, lured him into an ambush in the back room of the Something Sweet candy store in South Philadelphia. As Punjator chatted with Salvi, Salvatore Wayne Grande pulled a gun from beneath the cushions of a couch, skulked behind Salvi, and pumped 2 slugs into the back of Salvi's head. Grande shot Salvi one more time for good measure. Salvi Testa's hog-tied remains were found on the side of a dirt road in Gloucester Township, New Jersey. The aftermath of this treacherous murder would start the violent, downward spiral of the Philadelphia Mafia family under Little Nicky Scarfo. Salvi Testa's funeral was attended by 350 mourners on September 20th, 1984, at St. Paul's Catholic Church in Philadelphia's Italian Market section. The funeral brought a tragic end to the superstar era of the Testa family in the Philadelphia Cosa Nostra.
I got thrown out of school. I went to my father and Nicky. They knew a guy at Atlantic City racetrack. Gave me a job walking horses, and that's how you started. Walking horses.
When he's talking about his father and Nicky, he's talking about Nicky Scarfo and his dad, Chucky Merlino. So eventually, Nicky would be the boss of the family, and his dad, Chucky Merlino, would be the underboss.
Yeah, that's Prickett. The P. That's the guy I wrote for. See on the blinkers says William R. Prickett, W.R. Prickett. We had 80, 90 horses.
That shows you how kind of a small guy Joey is. I mean, jockeys are some of the tiniest little people. He weighed probably like around 107 pounds or something.
But them horses flipping the gate, you're dead. Crushed.
Yeah, it's a dangerous game. Being a jockey is a dangerous game. You don't want to get on the wrong end of like stampeding horse hooves. That will smash you up. Real nice.
Another A-Rod.
Yes.
I went to dinner with that motherfucker too.
You, A-Rod,
That's Johnny Marzano.
Yeah.
That's how I met A-Rod, through Johnny. Johnny was the catcher for Seattle.
Yeah. So A-Rod ratted out other steroid cheats to avoid testifying before Congress. And, he's slammed by a lot of people. It's kind of like Jose Canseco a little bit. Jose Canseco ratted people out who did steroids in his book. He wrote a couple of books. He also did that. So similar. And we know Joey does not like the rats.
I think Giuliani called that motherfucker. He's not a piece.
Yeah.
He called my lawyer. I got to do with the election.
He mentions Giuliani. He doesn't like Giuliani. I tend to agree with Skinny Joey here. Giuliani, one thing, I heard Giuliani say, which was kind of ridiculous, was that Vincent the Chin Gigante was a nobody, and he was like way low in the organization. I don't understand how a guy like Giuliani, who has that kind of intelligence, when I say intelligence, I don't mean IQ, I mean, information about organized crime, because he was a prosecutor and he did all this stuff, that he could say that, because Vincent the Chin Gigante was, the biggest of the bosses. There is no such thing as a boss of bosses since like the days of like Salvatore Maranzano, but Vincent the Chin Gigante was during his time, the biggest boss. And I'm going to drop some big bombshells about him soon on my channel. So stay tuned for that.
Johnny Baseball, this idiot.
Yes.
JR at the end.
At a month, we're going to finish him off.
We're going to finish him off today, JR. Wait till you hear these tapes.
Yeah, and you're going to have to go over to Patreon to see this full episode.
So the guy he's talking about is J.R. Rubio, and he was like a star witness in a racketeering trial. He was a star witness against Joey in a racketeering trial.
Last week, social media was erupting on the comments that we said about Chaz Palminteri.
He's another rat
Yeah.
lover.
If you're hanging with them, like you say, you're a rat.
That's it.
Joey calls Chaz Palminteri a rat lover. Joey doesn't like him. We know he doesn't like Michael. Joey of Michael says, Michael invited Joey onto his pod. Michael Franzese invited Skinny Joey Merlino onto his podcast. And Joey's response was, I don't entertain rats.
Billy Luna. Please subscribe to the Billy Luna channel and like the video. Thank you.